Smart talk all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
You're listening to Talking Heads with Naughty and Mary Jane. Only on Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM.
So me tell you that they love you, but you got that ulterior motive. Oh, I don't say.
Talking Heads with Naughty is brought to you by Burger King, City of Hope, Fine Threads, John's Department Store, Kelly's Home Center, KFC, Muffler World, Naughty Johnny's, NRG Nutrition, Prince Masters, Royal Caribbean Cruises Limited, and Tropical Gyros.
Working so hard, they want to treat you like Butu. 7 days a week, you try to make the 2 ends meet. It's not so sweet, still they cut their teeth and then skin them teeth. You wonder what the world is coming to. Kinda host, but I got to sing it too. I got 9 man there, I'm feeling the rock alone. So me tell you that they love you, but they got an ulterior motive. Oh, what a shame. And let me tell you that they need you, but they got an ulterior motive. Personality. So me tell you that they love you, but they got an ulterior motive.
When Naughty in the Company right up until 6 p.m. And like I said, it is Monday. Happy Monday. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you enjoyed yourself. Hope your football team won. And if they didn't win, hope you enjoyed yourself in the process with good food and good eats. Here we are back on Monday, back and ready to go at you another week and lots to talk about. We're going to hear from Roscoe Thompson in Abaco. We're going to, talk with him in depth about what went on with that whole situation with the container in Abaco, the Brooklyn Bridge, the small bridge, the big bridge, what was under the bridge and over the bridge and all in the containers there. And we'll have a good conversation about that. We'll also talk about, what Abaco still needs, stuff that we've been talking about on this show for years. And there go Abaco with another barge. All right? So we definitely got to have a conversation about that, about some of the other infrastructure that's lacking, some of the other things going on there. And we'll talk about, obviously, the headlines in the dailies today. But one thing we will not talk about. So no matter how much you text me and how much you call me, in accordance to what's going on down there in Golden House with the early voting, we can pick this up tomorrow. But as of today, ain't nothing happening. All right? I rather talk to my ERCA friends, Ben, and if I see them, not by appointment. All right. So now that we've got that out the way, like I said, we got lots to talk about today. If you want to chime in and you want to be part of the conversation, here's how.
Here's how you can become a talking head. Brought to you by BTC.
Text lines powered by BTC. 422-GR96. That's 422-4796. Phone lines open in New Providence, 323-6232, 325-4259, 325-4316. Toll free in any one of the Family Islands, 242-300-5720, 242-300-5720. Stream us live, take us wherever you want to go, GuardianTalkRadio.com. That's GuardianTalkRadio.com. And like I said, big part of the conversation today, we got lots to talk about, like I said, will involve the headlines.
It's time for Headliners. Everything that's making headlines in the 242. Brought to you by the Fine Threads.
And here's what's blazing up the pages of the Nassau Guardian, news and views that matter since 1844. All brought to you, of course, by Fine Threads. And like I said, be sure to check out Fine Threads. New arrivals in stock right now. Just in time for the Thanksgiving. And then obviously, you got Christmas coming up as well, too. So, give me 1 second. I just had my headlines pulled up and then poof, out of nowhere. They just, and here we go. Back up at you. All right, big headlines, like I told you. Up in flames. Tragic situation out there at Fish Fry. A huge portion of what we've come to know as like the Fish Fry, and the Fish Fry strip right there on the very western portion of it, including Goldie's. And shout out to Goldie and all those other businesses affected by this horrific situation. Goldie been there for years. I know when Goldie first opened up out there. So I know that's a lot to do with. But like I said, and a lot of questions arising from the situation. But like I said, a fire at the western end of Arawaki ripped through 6 restaurants at the popular cultural spot yesterday, leaving nearly 100 people out of a job and causing hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage. Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis, who visited the scene yesterday, called the fire a tragedy, telling reporters at the site that while it took the affected businesses time to recover, the government will provide assistance right away to facilitate a return to normal at Arawaki. According to police fire services, they received a call around 8:45 a.m. on Sunday about a fire at Arawaki. Officers met a 2-story wooden structure on fire. The fire spread to 5 neighboring stores before it was extinguished around 11 a.m. So we'll keep an eye on how it all plays out, how they rebuild. I'm sure we'll talk with Goldie and get caught up with all those vendors out there as well, too, to see exactly what's going on there. And just, Bahamian's going through a lot right now. And Bahamian's going through a lot in that sector, in that business sector. So it's tough seeing, this pan out for 6 businesses right before the Christmas. It's like very heart-wrenching. Mitchell, Bahamian passports are secure. Minister of Foreign Affairs Fred Mitchell dismissed claims that Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard, from Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard, that there have been security breaches with respect to the issuance of Bahamian passports. Mitchell said Bahamian documents are secure and issued under very strict guidelines. I also think that it's important, since there's a lot of stuff in the air about our own documents, to reassure the Bahamian public that Bahamian documents are secure. He said at the opening of our Embassy Locker's new facility on Shirley Street on Friday. There is no question that our documents are internationally accepted up to the highest standards, and that the release of those documents are done to very, very strict guidelines. And when loose attacks are made in public for what seems to be reasons other than common sense and evidence, it undermines the authenticity of our documents. And no Bahamian, regardless of their stance, should be engaged in undermining the authenticity of our documents. Well, okay, wait a minute. I got to stop there, because the irony has overwhelmed me. No Bahamian, regardless of their stance, should be engaged in undermining the authenticity of our documents. Well, wouldn't burning the Constitution be undermining the authenticity of the Constitution? I'm just saying. But I get it. I understand the big picture. But then there are other questions that arise from this. We have government officials on, other talk shows talking about how passports are issued. Still raises concerns that there could be some breach at some point. So I would like to get to the bottom of this. We do need to hear about this. And we do need to understand that our documents are secure. But at the same time, when they are issued, we need to also know to who and when and where they are issued. It's only fair. And considering the public concern for a whole new voting block potentially being created, it raises concerns. Rightfully so. Man denies charges in deadly hit-and-run robbery. Corrections officer denies plot to kill boss. Hanfield, government's approach to shantytowns won't solve the problem. And from the office of the Prime Minister, Pintard's claim extremely reckless. Again, the irony overwhelms me because I've seen some statements come from that office that you could say are borderline reckless in their own right. The irony today is thick on a Monday. But like I told you, that's just some of the headlines blazing up the pages of the Nassau Guardian News and Views that matter since 1844. We'll talk about that. We'll talk to Roscoe Thompson on the flip side of the break. We'll go live from Abaco. We'll get all caught up as to what's going on down there in Abaco. And like I said, we'll start with, the Abaco situation. And then we'll talk about the post-fish fry fire. Whatever else you guys want to talk about, all right? Roscoe and I'll chop it up, then I'll open up the line, so keep it right where you got it. Be Monday, November 17th edition of Talking Heads continues right after this.
Naughty Johnny's Restaurant can only be described as the experience you want to recreate again and again and again. Their motto is simple food done well. You're welcome into their home at Naughty Johnny's, where you can dine on crack conch fritters, and other Bahamian favorites. There's also an international flair that's guaranteed to offer something for everyone. Enjoy a good meal and listen to a live band on their patio Friday and Saturday nights, or brunch on Saturday and Sunday, only at Naughty Johnny's Restaurant in the Old Town Plaza, Old Fort. They're open 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. on Saturday, and 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Sunday. Naughty Johnny's, well worth the trip.
Are you searching for something new? Something exciting? Your dream job in paradise? Well, look no further. Royal Beach Club Paradise Island is hiring. Join a dynamic group of passionate hospitality professionals, craft unforgettable moments, and thrive in a vibrant, welcoming atmosphere. Play your part in shaping the future of our team while growing your own career every day. Bring your energy, your passion, and your creativity to a workplace that's as dynamic and fun as you are. At Royal Beach Club Paradise Island, the opportunities don't just exist. They're limitless. So are you ready to find your perfect fit? Visit Royal Beach Club at paradiseisland.com/career today and step into a world of exciting possibilities.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Learn more at cancercenter.com.
Feeding the crew? Fueling the cravings? There's something for everyone with the new KFC Fill-Up Box. Serving 6 juicy pieces of chicken, 4 buttery biscuits, crispy fries to share, and 12 premium original recipe KFC nuggets. All packed into one crave-worthy box. Not a crumb's gonna survive when the KFC box hits the table. So dig in and do whatever the crunch you want with the KFC Fill-Up Box. Only at KFC. It's finger-licking good.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
So me tell you that they love you, but they got that ulterior motive. Oh, what a shame. And let me tell you that they need you, but they got that ulterior motive. Personality. And let me tell you that they love you, but they got that ulterior motive. Oh, what a shame. And let me tell you that they need you, but they got that ulterior motive. Personality. Sorry for my God. Some wrong by you. Yeah. Though you're working so hard, they want to treat you like good too. 7 days a week, you try to make the 2 ends meet. It's not so sweet, still they cut their teeth and then skin them teeth. You wonder what the world is coming to. blues, but I got to sing it too. I got nine man there, feeling the rock and roll. So me tell you that they love you.
We're back at ya on the Monday, November 17th edition of Talking Heads. Your boy Naughty and your company right up until 6 p.m. And we're into the buzz, all brought to you, of course, by John Shoes. And first and foremost, let's get down to Albuquerque. Thompson is joining us now live via the Zoom. So let's touch base with Roscoe. Roscoe, what's going on?
Right here, buddy. Good afternoon, Bahamas. Good afternoon, Naughty. Been a while. Sorry about that. I was sick the last 2 weeks, so do apologize not making it the last 2 Mondays.
All right, but I'm glad you're back up and running, man. First things first, health important. Glad to know you back up and running and all things well. I'll be honest with you. You know we got a lot to talk about to get caught up with what's going on in Albuquerque, because that's what we like to do, and obviously you talk about national issues as well.
Yeah.
Let's cut to the chase. Glad to know you doing well. Let's talk about the third barge in the room, not the elephant, but the barge. Dog, what kind of barge magnet is Albuquerque, Roscoe? This is the third one in 3 years. I mean, boy, we out one a year, and one's still stuck.
Think about the boat too down at Sandy Point that sunk 3.5 years ago that they haven't dealt with either. So
that's true.
Yeah, no, it was quite an excitement last week. I guess, as you could say, for the what would they call it, the Walmart barge?
Yeah, the floating Walmart.
Boy,
listen, I'll be honest with you. I'm just patiently waiting till Thursday. I expect to wake up with no questions asked, but a washer, dryer, and a flat screen and some dog food when I wake up Thursday morning. That's all I want to know. I don't know where it came from. I don't know how it got there. I'll figure it was one of Santa's elves, they're gone rogue and figured, what, after all these years being nicknamed Naughty, let's leave this something for this dude right here.
Yeah. It was a sad state, don't get me wrong.
No. Roscoe, first and foremost, I try to make light of the situation, obviously, because we have to look at it for what it is. But when we look at it for what it is, I don't care how people sugarcoat it. Internationally, it's bad publicity again, brand damage.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not piracy, but if you want to subtract that word piracy and insert a word that we all familiar with, looting, then here you go.
It is. It's borderline. There's some letters to the law, but we also have to remember too. You have the maritime law and boats in distress, and then you also have the salvage. The Salvage Act. But you also got to remember too, customs and duty, and a duty and VAT. And a lot of people forget about that. It's different if a container was overboard and floating, but, the barge had a chain with an anchor on one side. And at one point, the tug was still, connected to the barge.
And initially, obviously, for context, the cable between the barge and the tug broke free, obviously, in bad weather.
Yes, out at sea, correct. Yes.
And we ended up with the barge on the reef. And again, like I said, if you're riding by in the middle of the ocean and you see a container floating, that is a different story. If you look at it, decide to open it, so on and so forth, or if you need it open.
Right. But you heard so many stories about, the people said to go on the barge and lighten the barge up. And you heard.
No, I heard some of the best BS of all time. I was proud as a Bahamian to hear some of my good old-fashioned Bahamiana BS floating around.
All I can say is it really put a black eye on us again, but it also put some humor with some of the songs and, the memes that came out. But at the end of the day, it's not a good thing, in regards to that. So, think about it.
It speaks to, I'll be honest with you, it speaks to Bahamian ingenuity, because I don't know how they got all of that stuff off that barge at the height and disparity that it was. Second of all, like you said, the entertainment purposes from the creative sector of the community are incredible. I've heard some good memes and jokes and laughs and songs. But at the end of the day, in all reality, it's a glaring reflection on something you and I have grown up seeing, and it hasn't changed. And we met it here, and the fact that Bahamians, we as a people, have a problem at calling wrong where wrong is.
Yeah.
Especially if we benefiting from it in one way, shape, or form. And I understand things are tough. I understand times are hard. I understand that and duty is
Yeah,
a local.
but Naughty,
But
think about and
you
I
can't bust open the man containers on the barge that just run aground. If the containers wasn't bust open, then you can't break them open.
that's like cutting somebody's anchor line on their boat and stating, no, the boat was drifting. I'm salvaging it. Okay, you can't do that.
I
You
mean,
know, I mean, let me rephrase. You can do it, but you shouldn't do it. You know, a boat at anchor is you know. I mean, I just let me tell you, to see the videos and to see the boats who are out there and to see, my thing is, and I'm not saying it's government's responsibility, but to a certain extent, the government was a little lackadaisy.
Okay, Roscoe, let me say it for you then. See, I was talking about the brand damage. Not only, does it come with them calling us pirates, when I don't think that was the right word to be used, even though we looting fine, that I can't deny that.
Yeah, but we've been pirates. Sorry, the Bahamas is pirates that's was one of the
for years. I understand that, but we're trying to break that mold.
Yeah,
So let's clarify that. So for the record, but that shouldn't be the point that everybody's up in arms about. The point should be that the news report broke internationally that the company that owns the barge requested assistance, and often, for lack of a better word, chickened out.
Yeah, from both the port, if I'm not mistaken, they requested assistance from the government as well as the port and the relevant agencies that were involved. So,
and the flimsy excuses, fear of violence, we had to refuel the boat.
Okay, fear of violence. So they will go and knock a shanty town down with Defense Force and police, but they don't fear the violence that will reoccur, from that. But you put Defense Force and police on a barge just to, to protect the goods. I mean, that's what they ended up doing anyway, correct? At the end of the day, you had Defense Force
at the end of the day
on the boards. But
when they finally arrived, that's what they did. That's how they decided to protect the cargo and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and the sad thing is the government knew before the barge, that it was there. They knew that it was, this should have been, even if the owner of the barge had to pay for the security at the end of the day for the Defense Force or the police or whoever that was there, it should have been handled a lot differently than it was. It just, and then it became Florida news, and then it became, it went a little more outside. It just really kind of put a black eye, and then you have boaters talking about it and saying, hey, well, hey, do we go to the bar? Is this what actually goes on here?
Yeah, there was a lot, a chit chatter. Now we have to get to the phone lines. We got some calls, but when we finish, still got to talk about the potential that woulda, coulda, shoulda to be avoided, because we still don't know what the manifesto was. We still don't know what the cargo or manifest was on that boat.
They everything from tires to Bluetooth to batteries to Cheetos to,
and if it's going to if it's
watches
going
and dryers
to Walmart in Puerto Rico, you really needed to know what was on there. I hope some chili cheese Fritos wasn't on there, because boy, if chili cheese Fritos was on there and a container of them was there, but I have to start swimming and do my due diligence. I ain't gonna lie. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Talking Heads.
Hey, Naughty Roscoe, what's up, man?
Good
afternoon. What's going on, bro?
There's two things I want the people to understand, or I think people are not realizing about this barge situation. Number one, that barge was sitting on top of the reef, unattended, unsecured, unoccupied. It was just there, sitting there. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not giving these people rights for going on that people barge and taking the people things, but it was just sitting there. So any boater knows that if you go there and you see a vessel, of course you're going to board the vessel and see what's going on. Now, again, I'm not trying to justify the people. I'm not trying to justify what they did. But again, the barge was sitting there, unattended, unoccupied, in the sea by itself. Secondly, nobody's talking about the environmental impact, the environmental damage, the cost that damage did to the Bahamas, to the reef in Albert Coast. Nobody's talking about that. Everybody's talking about pirates and this and this and that. But no one is addressing the environmental impact.
Call up. I get the point that you say you driving along and you see this barge. Now you go investigate visually, and now you go physically and investigate. Then you realize, okay, nobody's on this barge. A lot of containers here. Now you get back off and you don't break open nothing. It's there. You can investigate.
I'm close. That's why I said I'm not trying to justify what they did.
No,
but
I know.
It was sitting there for some time unattended.
Hear me now. Second of all, we couldn't address the damage incurred by this barge on our reef because of the bad pub internationally, because our police was too scared to go deal with it.
Well, even so, but the barge is already gone. Did any environmental group went out there to look at the damage?
There has been. There were two groups that went out there, as far as I know. I don't know the exact number, but from what I'm hearing, it's
But why are they letting the piracy take the headlines and not letting the impact, not letting the damage done to the reef? Why not? Why they're not talking about that? Why isn't the Bahamas people addressing the environmental damage?
Let me clarify for context. When they reach out to the government, now, I don't know which agency it fell under where the phone call finally ended up, but when they reach out and they say we can't respond, and the reasons given why we can't respond is crazy. That is gonna occupy international headlines because it's sensational. At the end of the day, they still have to answer to the damage caused to the reef.
Yeah.
Two separate things. I'm sorry your barge buck up on our reef. I'm sorry someone else got broken open, but we can make sure I'll deal with that for you. But you got to still pay for this reef, which you break up.
Someone else to pay for that reef. Someone else to pay for that.
The talk that I've heard just sipping around is upwards of $50 million worth of damage, placed on it.
Yeah,
I agree.
Someone has to pay for that. Whether it be the towing company, whether it be the barge owners, someone has to pay for that. Because I promise you, this could not, a Bahamian registered vessel or barge could not do this in America and get away with it. Correct. I don't understand why, number one, that barge wasn't arrested and seized until that fine was paid, or at least until the damage was assessed.
Listen to this.
And I will say they had to get that barge off the reef before any more damage occurred, because we had that same incident down in Manowar and Foul Key Reef where that's still in court and the barge is still there destroying the reef.
I agree with the urgency. Roscoe says that they needed to get it off, and yes,
I agree. Take it off the barge, take it off the reef, but tow it into a secured facility until they reach some kind of resolution as to who is going to pay or how much is going to be paid.
Right, but
I'm not going to continue to listen.
Hold on. Get it off the reef, and of course, charge them for any environmental impact. I agree with that, but we can't shake it no matter how we look at it. As soon as that barge hit the reef, it was immediately under the control of the government, the port controller. So we have to take responsibility
and all I'm saying,
for some of that negative pub that we got.
When they got it off the reef, that barge should have been arrested until the owners or the charterers or whoever is involved with it, until the damage was assessed. This is what's going to cost. Now, how y'all going to deal with this? We can keep the barge in the cargo, or y'all going to pay it and we can release it. I just don't think they should have getaway escort.
That's a separate argument, but a very valid one, and it shouldn't be released.
Yeah, I agree. Now we left with the damage, and we left holding the bag with a damaged reef. Those people get the rest of their goods, and I'm sure they can prosecute those people to get the balance to get their money. I'm sure they're going to be made whole, but the Bahamas government get left holding the bag.
Insurance will cover I'm pretty sure insurance will cover what was stolen or what was removed off the barge. Now, in regards to the reef, it's a matter, I do know that there were a couple environmental groups and the diver that went up there to assess what damage there was. That's going to take, thank God we have beautiful weather right now for them to go out there and take a look. But the one word I heard, one amount was up to $50 million now, where I don't know how true that is, but You are correct there.
Well, if I do the math according to this administration and break out my abacus, it costs $50 million exactly for the damage on the reef.
No, and Naughty, if I could just add this, based on my experience in the maritime industry, in my opinion, this was due to negligence. I believe that they was pulling this barge. The barge, they towed those barge. They let a couple 100 yards steel wire out, and they towed those. I believe sometime during the course of the night, that cable snapped, the barge went adrift, and they couldn't find it by the time they noticed it was missing. By the time they noticed it was missing, it was nowhere to be in sight. They couldn't find it. That's when they sent a call out for help. By the time the authorities did find the barge was already on the reef, and the people were taking the things off it. So it was due to negligence. Someone should have been watching the barge. The barge should have an AIS or some kind of tracking device so that they could find it before it hit the reef. I think I'm going to continue to listen.
All right, Carla, good stuff. All right, let me get to the text lines real quick because I got a ton of texts already. Naughty, tell you, Carla, to stop talking nonsense. Plenty of people are talking about the damage to the reef, which is true. I've heard environmentalists talking about the damage to the reef. I've heard, folks who are just, politicos. Another talking head saying, yeah, sad situation about the cargo. We need to deal with it. But what about the damage to the reef? Because it's true. Had that container not been looted, had that container not been damaged or broken open, the first thing and only thing we could have been talking about today was the damage to the reef. And how much you going to pay us. And then another text, Naughty, your caller was not doing it in the boat. Ask him how many washing machines he got. They call us y'all ain't easy, boy. All right, let me get to these other texts. Okay, good afternoon, Naughty and MJ. Is it right for the government to give an assistance to the Arawak vendors? Did they find out if they are insured? Even though they are, it's a business. They don't need the help from the government. Boy, I tell you, it's election time. I hope the Cowboys win tonight. Amen. I hope the Cowboys win tonight, too. I understand the sentiment, though, and I've seen other prime ministers make visits to situations like that with cultural sites that have been damaged prior. So I get the sentiment. I don't want to strike it up to Mr. Davis in election mode. I think he had a genuine concern because I've heard stories how much he liked conch salad. However, since the boss creased up under him for photo opportunities, now that was electioneering and that was campaigning for sure. But I think Brave was there because he's a fan of Goldie's conch salad. Yeah, Naughty, that was the risk those thieves took. What if poison gas was in those containers? Exactly. That could have been another situation. Go ahead, Roscoe.
No, I was just going to say about Goldie's, like you said. I mean, even my father-in-law used to go there and get conch salad, back in the day. I mean,
that's one of the original spots out there. Yeah. Arawaki built up around Goldie's and a couple others. Yeah. Mr. Poole, Lord bless the dead, who passed away under tragic situations because they robbed him. And one or two others, even Darryl Miller, the late Darryl Miller, Lord bless the dead, had a spot out there as it grew up over the years. They've had spots there for a while. Big Ten is, of course, can't forget the Big Ten. That's one of the originals. So
and I'm very thankful. A friend of mine, Trudy, she didn't lose her. She had some damage, but it didn't destroy hers. So I mean, I'm grateful in some ways, and I feel for the other business owners there. And you touch on something. Should government assist at that? Think about it. It's 100 people out of jobs right now, and to some extent, government should help with something. I mean, I don't know what depth or what it is, if it's a low income loan, low interest loan, something. I mean, I don't know what the answer is. No matter what you say or I say, you're going to have people saying no, and you're going to have people saying yes. So it makes it's one of those touchy subjects, you know. But a lot of people are out of work right now, and you got 5 weeks before Christmas.
Hey,
that's going to hurt a lot of people. That's 100 people. Let's just say it's 100 families. I mean, that's a big effect on people.
Let's get to the text lines. I hope Bahamians realize who are in charge of U.S. national security in future when a U.S. vessel calls pirates. I hope they're not surprised by the Venezuela response. What if, who knows what was in those containers, Naughty? I agree, we don't know what was in those containers. You know something, Naughty? No one knows what was on that barge. It may have been full of illegal stuff, and the stuff the guys took could have been the fish. Boy, the theories are alive and well.
But see, that's the thing, Naughty, and also you have to look at too is you have to look at the customs and duty thing of it. You're not, how much customs was not paid on none of that. VAT was not paid on any of that. I mean, it's there's so many departments involved in this. Like the caller said earlier that the barge was not. They did have a chain overboard. Now I don't know if it had an anchor on it. I heard it did, but then the barge did hook back up to it at one time. To keep it from going anywhere else on the further damage. So once that barge hooks back up to it, your salvage rights are, you have no reason to be on that barge. And there's a lot of good people statements that have been said. You don't know what dangerous materials, what contraband, what could have been on that barge.
And again, it's going to a U.S. territory from the U.S. to a Walmart, which is a U.S. company that has offices in Puerto Rico. U.S. territory. There could have been guns on there. There could have been illegal. When I say illegal, there could have been controlled substances for the pharmacy.
Pharmacy.
There could have been, pesticides that we don't use here. That could get into the system, ecosystem here that's not good. There's a ton of things that could have been illegal. Could have been contraband. Could have been gray areas.
Yeah.
So let me get to the phone lines real quick. Talking Heads.
Golly, they just stuck in away so long along with you, Naughty.
Hey, what's going on, Brayman?
I wanted to find out how long it took if they went there, the Defense Force officers. We haven't heard anything from them. Let's go, man, you all government people. This is our country, and we need to know the facts and the truth. Thank you.
Good stuff, Brayman.
Go ahead, Naughty, because I got to look. I can go back to WhatsApp, and now that I can tell you when I did notify the authorities that when it came to my attention, and that was Thursday morning, that I knew, and I sent photos and everything. And I know the police did go down to look, or they went out to investigate. It wasn't until I think the next day or Saturday that they actually got the quick response Defense Force here to get on the barge to stop everything from happening.
All right, we got to get to the break. Mr. Producer's give me the signal, so we'll get to the break. Flip side of the break, we'll be back. We'll wrap things up with Roscoe Thompson. We'll get you ready. You're live from Albuquerque. We'll get you ready for the 5 o'clock hour. We may go over this a little bit, but we will be talking sports. We got a lot of sports to talk about. And the Dolphins won, by God, the bipolar Dolphins. So we'll talk about them and more on the flip side of the break and in the 5 o'clock.
You got the bipolar Dolphins, but you got the crazy Cowboys, so we're in good shape.
But with the two of us together, boy, you could put on my straight jacket and I could put on yours. So, let's get to the break. Coming up after the break, we'll wrap up with Roscoe right here on as we kick off the week with the Monday, November 17th edition of Talking Heads, which continues right after this.
So we tell you that they love you, but they got an ulterior motive. Oh, what a shame. And they will tell you that they need you, but they got an ulterior motive. Oh, yeah. I feel the vibes to see.
What happens when your faves team up? You get an original Asiago Bacon Club. Enjoy the iconic taste of KFC's 11 herbs and spices with a bite into KFC's original recipe chicken filet layered with Asiago cheese, crisp lettuce, tomato, bacon, our signature ranch, all on a golden brioche bun. KFC's original Asiago Bacon Club is made fresh, made right, available only at KFC. It's finger-licking good.
You try to rest, but roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and banners, magazines and flyers. For window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it. Just give us a call. Let print Masters, bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
John Shoes and Accessories is your one-stop shop for all your footwear needs. You will find what you're looking for among the growing collection of classic and trendy styles with new arrivals every week. John's covers the whole family and has great prices, helpful and friendly customer service. Your experience shopping with us will be time well spent. Shop with us online at www.johnshoes.com. John's also now carries small home appliances. So come on into John's, located on Rosetta Street in Palmdale and Carmichael Road West. John's, we put fashion at your feet.
How often should you change your oil in your car? Every 3,000 miles or 3 months? Definitely by the time the light come on. A car needs oil just like we all need water. Let Muffler World change your oil and oil filters to help you keep your ride on the road. Regular oil changes will save your car's engine. Stop by Muffler World on Mackey Street or Robinson Road to have your car's oil changed in no time flat. Muffler World on Mackey Street is open on Saturdays 8 to noon.
Craving something bold, fresh, and unforgettable? Tropical Gyros is your flavor-packed escape, a Carib-Greek fusion born right here in Nassau. From juicy grilled salmon, chicken, and pork gyros to loaded bowls, fresh salads, wings, and more. There's something for every craving. Find Tropical Gyros at any of their locations, JFK Plaza, Rosetta Street, Port Lucaya Freeport, or their franchise spots on Prince Charles Drive, Soldier Road West, Delaport, and Carmichael Road. Tropical Gyros, not just good food, it's an experience.
You're listening to Talking Heads with Naughty and Mary Jane. Only on Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM.
So me tell you that they love you, but they got that ulterior motive. Oh, what a shame. And let me tell you that they need you, but they got that ulterior motive. Personality. And let me tell you that they love you, but they got that ulterior motive. Oh, what a shame. And let me tell you that they need you, but
We're back at you on the Monday, November 17th edition of Talking Heads. Your boy Naughty and your company right up until 6 p.m. Let's get back to Abaco with Roscoe Thompson. We're live in Abaco, and obviously, you know, we did talk about initially the situation with the barge and all the parameters that go along with that. But let's pivot a little bit. And you mentioned the other barge still going on, still on the other reef deteriorating. That's still in court, but I mean, at some point, what damage? The final damage? What's the final damage to that reef?
Boy, Naughty, that's more than I think. That's got to be more damage than what was done out there by Blackwood. You know, up in that Nunjack where that other barge went up.
But that's just a terrible situation right there with that. Now I see a lot of talks about Shantytown and Shantytown demolitions, and it always brings to mind, you know, well, hey, you're going to do it in this island, you're going to do it over here, you're going to do it in New Providence. Well, are we going to clean up the debris, or do we still have that eyesore in
You still got that eyesore.
Minister Sweden?
Still got that eyesore, and still people dumping garbage and stuff there. Now, I will say I had a good talk to the head of enforcement over here. I think his name's Mr. Musgrove, and he has been, you know, very good. He says, Mr. Thompson, I'd like to drive around with you. You show me, let me know, so we can do some surveillance and do some raids and get some of this. So I got to say, I've been kind of happy to see immigration over here doing something. But the shanty towns are just getting out of control. Even our Central Abaco District Council, which I sit on with Farron Newbold and other members, Cecil and a group of us, Miss Tinker, and, you know, we're to the point now where if we are trying to find houses that are being built and they're being built illegally, if we can tackle X amount a month and have them knocked down, you know, it shows that we're being serious. The problem is right now it's still with the courts. So we can't touch anything because of this shantytown. But what gives a right for somebody to build something illegal, no matter if it's Bahamian or not? If you don't go through the proper channels to build through town planning and get a permit number, what gives you the right to think you could just go and squat and build where you want to build? I think that's what annoys most people, to know that the illegal stuff that's going on, and that's where Ministry of Works is really supposed to step in, and they're dropping the ball on that.
All right, let's get to the phone lines real quick. Talking Heads.
We don't hate you. You're just naughty in nature. I'm Mary J. and Roscoe. Good afternoon.
Yeah, only me on today, man. MJ will be on tomorrow and the rest of the week. But yeah, only me on
that's
today.
okay. Send a shout out to the best.
You get the
dynamic
beast
duo.
today and no beauty. That's what you get.
Listen, GNN Talking Heads, whose investigative reporter is reporting. Donnie, how long have those cafeteria and kitchen staff been down to UV? How long you think?
Pardon, GNN, repeat that.
How long have the kitchen staff and cafeteria staff been down by University of the Bahamas? How long?
Boy, we've been having this conversation at least a year and a half.
Them people been down there into almost 2 years, Donnie. Can you believe that?
Well, I said almost a year and a half, at least a year and a half. So yeah, man, I can believe that.
And I spoke to one of my girls who worked there just a while ago. And do you know, our boy, Dr. Doolittle, have not presented himself down there to see how those workers do it?
What?
I kid you not. And I ain't gonna call no name, and I do, but she, the person is a chef. So, you know that's good sauce, right?
But my question is this, though. I mean, at some point, you have to ensure that your staff has what they need to function and has a good operating morale in order to take care of the patients.
They got them people that they're naughty. They don't know if they're going or coming. They literally don't know talking about man. And these people campaigning naughty.
Wow. I mean, I'm.
Are they campaigning? Roscoe, they campaigning?
Yeah.
And they got people out in the wilderness for almost 2 years and wouldn't even check on them.
But GNN, my point is this, though. I mean, it's very sobering to note that still in 2025, you have people receiving horrible treatment at that facility. And
horrible.
Due to no beds, no drip bags, not enough blood in the dispensary. I mean, the list goes on and on. There's a myriad of horror stories that have come out of the kidney and the dialysis segment. We've lost people from there. I mean, we really have to address it. Not only that, you have secondary infections. You go in and due to circumstances beyond any patient's control, there's the risk of secondary infections and other disease floating around in there to get you sick and take you. In addition to that, you know, there's lack of proper infrastructure.
Man, naughty, and people still jumping up and down in political party T-shirt. Huh?
And rodents. Don't forget the rodents.
It is shocked. I tell you, I got one scar on my leg. I can show you that. You know, I'll take a picture and send it to you. When
I wasn't bringing that up just for your sake. It's for anybody else.
But I thought that was just an isolated incident. You see, but naughty, we got to do better. And Amen people need to wake up. We really need to wake up. I don't think these people care. I really don't think they care. So, thanks for taking GNN call. All right, Roscoe.
Have a good day, buddy.
Yeah, man.
All right, GNN, be safe, man. I tell you, man, you don't need to be in a healthcare facility with the fear of being nibbled on by rodents.
Well, naughty, I can't say we have rodents here, but you don't have medication. You know, you can't go to the pharmacy there and get certain blood pressure, antibiotics. You have to go to a private pharmacy. Things like that. So it's happening. It's all over the Bahamas. I think it's happening in Freeport that, you can't get the medication that you need. It's just mind boggling to know I was speaking to a doctor that used to work in Sandy Point, and she said, it really hurt my heart working for government as much as I loved helping the people. The problem is the supplies. The government, just did not check. And this, I don't want to say this is just recent. This was, a little while ago, but it's frustrating. What more do we have to do to bring our healthcare system up to par? That should be one of the things that should be a top priority, besides education, is our healthcare system. I mean, that's
one thing you should be able to rely on is quality health care, especially if it's provided by the government. And it should be good enough that the government officials use said health care.
Yep.
Boy, but we got to get to the break in short order, Roscoe. But I do appreciate you chiming in. Hopefully next week when we'll talk, we'll have more light to the situation with other things going on in Abaco. And
no, I know this week was more about the barge, and I knew that would be big news. And like I tell people, I mean, it is what it is. It just did not look good on the Bahamas. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it was not the publicity that we needed at this point in time, with everything else that's going on in our country. Because a lot of people don't realize all it takes Trump to do is remove pre-clearance here or limit visas. And you want to talk about Bahamians, us as Bahamians really scrambling, then where are we going to go? Cuba? I mean, think about it. It's an eye-opening thing. And it is what it is. I just hope that at the end of the day, the government addresses and levies a fine against the environmental impact that the barge did do on the reef. And, at the end of the day, I do think that you're going to see there's a lot of videos, and I at the end of the day, I think you're going to see some prosecutions from those videos of people removing that stuff.
We got to watch it play out and see how it all pans out. But I agree with you. I definitely want to see the environmental fines
side of it. Yep.
And I also want to see those who have, who broke the law be brought to justice. But I got to get a couple of texts in, Roscoe, so let me get to them. I appreciate you. We'll do it again next Monday. All right, bro?
And just so you know, Naughty, I ain't watched the Dolphin game since Cleveland. So they
started to play better since you started watching.
Hurricanes. That's what I've been watching.
Keep watching them, all right? You stop watching the Dolphins, they start winning. You start watching the Hurricanes, they start losing. Don't watch nothing. How about that?
All right, I can watch Dallas tonight.
Okay, God, there it goes. Go find a container.
Yeah, all right, Naughty. You have a good afternoon, Bahamas. Y'all have a blessed day.
All right, you too, Roscoe. Be safe. Let me get to these last couple texts in before the break, Mr. Producer. The sad part of the Iraqi employees, I hope they have their NIB up to date. Good afternoon, Naughty. They said over 100 jobs lost, but could they say how much was Bahamian jobs or people with work permit and NIB, and was all of that paid up? America is going to lay the smackdown on the Bahamas for that boat. Save what you all want. Pay for what reef? In what world does your citizens rob a ship and American government make who pay what? You're got to be joking. The PM says he will assist the vendors at Fish Fry, but when they're going to fix the health care, nothing for us Bahamians. Texas, all valid points, all good points, and we'll get to the break right after the news. We're into the 5 o'clock hour.
Naughty, one other thing. The fire, what type of hydrant pressure and hydrants and what type of response did they have with fire trucks? Because I know that at one point we were very limited in Nassau with what we had.
All right, Roscoe, we'll get on that, and then obviously, we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll bring that up again next week. We'll talk about it some more in depth, all right? But keep it right where you got it. Quick break. Flip side of the break, we'll be talking sports at 5 o'clock. Keep it right where you got it.
And so we tell you that they love you, but they got an ulterior motive.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
So me tell you that they love you, but they got that ulterior motive. Oh, what a shame. And if me tell you that they need you, but they got that ulterior motive. Personality. And if me tell you that they love you, but they got that ulterior motive. Oh, what a shame. And if me tell you that they need you, but they got that ulterior motive. Personality. Sorry for my God. Some wrong by you. Yeah, yeah. Though you're working so hard, they want to treat you like Butu. 7 days a week, you try to make the 2 ends meet. It's not so sweet, still they cut their teeth and then skin them teeth. You wonder what the world is coming to. Kinda host, but I got to sing it too. I got 9 man there, I'm feeling the right alone. So me tell you that they love you, but they got an ulterior motive. Oh, what a shame. And let me tell you that they need you, but they got an ulterior motive. Personality. So me tell you that they love you, but they got an ulterior motive. Oh, what a shame. And let me tell you that they need you, but they got an ulterior motive. Oh, yeah. I feel the vibes to sing this one. Dedicated to those in the audience who don't know about the Holy One, moving under false pretense. Beat down the warrior and blaze down the fence. Rastafari, they are with the true confidence. Yeah. Oh, oh, oh. It's a day, sing again. So we tell you that they love you, but they got an ulterior motive. Oh, what a shame. And if we tell you that they love you, but they know they got that serious motive. Listen again. And so we tell you that they love you, but they got an ulterior motive. Oh, what a shame. And if we tell you that they need you, but they got an ulterior motive. Personality. When the going is smooth, they will fit so much in a groove. But when the storms start to blow, then nobody will know you. They will run and they can't die. Go around the corner, go they sit and talk and labba. But Jah is always your guide, remember now. So they tell you that they know you, but they got an ulterior motive. Oh, what a shame. They will tell you that they need you, but they got an ulterior motive. Personality.
We're back at you on the Monday, November 17th edition of Talking Heads. Your boy Naughty and the company right up until 6 p.m. We're into the 5 o'clock hour. 5:07 p.m. is the time. We are talking sports. And you know, be setting off the sports hour. We got to set it off with Today in Sports History, all brought to you, of course, by Naughty Johnny's. And don't forget Naughty Johnny's for our weather trip out there to the Old Fort Shopping Plaza. Monday through Friday, great for lunch and dinner. Then on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, great for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast starting at 9 a.m. Now, let's see what happened on this day, November 17th. And on this day in sports history, not a lot happened, but some things did pop off. 1926, the Chicago Blackhawks played their first game in the NHL. 1940, the Green Bay Packers became the first NFL team to travel by plane. 1968, NBC cut away from the final minutes of a New York Jets-Oakland Raider game to begin a TV special, Heidi, on scheduled time. The Raiders came from behind to beat the Jets 43-32. 1982, the NFL reduced its 16-game season to 9 as a result of a 57-day player strike. 1991, Mike Utley of the Detroit Lions suffered a spinal injury in a game against the Los Angeles Rams that left him paralyzed from the chest down. 1997, Mario Lemieux was voted into the NHL Hall of Fame. 2003, Barry Bonds of the San Francisco Giants became the first Major League Baseball player to receive 6 National League MVP awards. Sports quote of the day, if you train hard, you'll not only be hard, you'll be hard to beat. Herschel Walker. And we'd like to, on behalf of the sports segment here on Talking Heads and the press box on Sundays right here on Guardian Radio, I'd like to welcome Ambassador Walker. We're looking forward to that interview, sitting down with you and talking a little bit of politics, but plenty sports. Because if it wasn't for you, I would not nothing to talk about my Cowboys. So I appreciate that, and of course, you know, the huge Georgia Bulldog loyalty that we have here in this country. That'll be a good conversation for those fans as well too. Lots to talk about. Looking forward to that interview. All right, we're into the 5 o'clock hour, like I told you. We're talking sports, and we got to move on over to the local sports scene. All brought to you, of course, by Burger King Nassau. Time to check out the home court. And we'll check out the local scene right now. And obviously, you know, things starting to heat up locally. You got women's basketball. The Bahamas loses to the U.S. Virgin Islands. That's our women's national basketball team. Despite falling to the U.S. Virgin Islands on the final day of the 2025 FIBA Women's Caribbean Championship, the Bahamas senior women's national basketball team finished among the top 3 squads and consequently has qualified for the 2026 Central Basket Women's Championship. So congratulations to them. The U.S. Virgin Islands led by as many as 24 points and won by that margin, running away for a 105-81 victory at the Cliff Anderson Sports Hall in Georgetown, Guyana on Sunday. With the loss, the Bahamas finished with a 2-2 record and had to wait for the conclusion of the late game between host country Guyana and Jamaica to be confirmed of a top 3 spot in the tournament. Well, they have been confirmed that spot, so now they know that they're on to the 2026 Central Basket Women's Championship. They've qualified for that, so good stuff there. At the end of the day, they did what they had to do. And if I'm not mistaken, no John Quill, recovering from surgery. So just think about it like that as well, too. Anna wins gold at Montreal Pan American Open, this in judo. So good to see judo still doing well in the country. And still a lot of young athletes performing at a high level internationally in the sport of judo and karate. The Bahamas finishes 0-2 in international friendlies. And this obviously, we're talking soccer. The Bahamas, a senior men's national soccer team, they dropped their 2 international friendlies against Anguilla and the British Virgin Islands, wrapping up the inaugural 2025 CONCACAF, Confederation of North Central American and Caribbean Association Football Friendly Series with a winner's 0-2 record over the weekend. But all is not lost. All is not lost. I look for that senior men's team to rebound at some point, because they have been competitive over the years, especially in these regional tournaments. So to drop 2 friendlies over the weekend. And, you know, this is why I like Pearly, you know. Pearly's that guy. Naughty, I don't know if I'll make it today. I'm tied up in a very, serious meeting. But you still have time to send me a video flyer for the Senior Boys Baseball Championship, SAC versus QC, going on today at the stadium. So, yeah. We'll give you a report on that tomorrow, especially if SAC wins. I'm sure Pearly will have lots to talk about in that regard. But back to the headlines. Like I said, with the soccer situation, I look for that team to rebound because we have been competitive in the region over the years. So let's keep an eye on what we do the next time it goes out. Other news from around the region. The Bahamas senior women's national basketball team. Oh yeah, this is just from day one of that tournament when they took care of Suriname 77-45. So yep, that's a wrap right down the home court. All brought to you, of course, by Burger King Nassau. Let's take that quick commercial break. Flip side of the break, we'll get into who's in and who's out. All brought to you, of course, by Tropical Gyros. We'll talk NBA, we'll talk NFL, and we'll get you ready for my picks for tonight's games coming up. All right, and we got a solid Rich taking us home today, so keep it right where you got it. The Monday, November 17th edition of Talking Heads continues right after this.
Refined style with elegant taste, then fine threads is your place. If you want those slacks hemmed or just taking the waist, then fine threads is your place. If you want to look suave and debonair everywhere you go, like you're supposed to be in a video, want to step out and look great, then fine threads is your place. Refined style with elegant taste, then fine threads is your place, is your place. is your place.
John Shoes and Accessories is your one-stop shop for all your footwear needs. You will find what you're looking for among the growing collection of classic and trendy styles with new arrivals every week. John's covers the whole family and has great prices, helpful and friendly customer service. Your experience shopping with us will be time well spent. Shop with us online at www.johnshoes.com. John's also now carries small home appliances, so come on into John's, located on Rosetta Street in Palmdale and Carmichael Road West. John's, we put fashion at your feet.
The King is bringing you a sweet and savory twist for breakfast at Burger King Nassau. Say hello morning with the maple additions of the Burger King Croissant Sandwich, including a sausage and cheese croissant sandwich topped with maple syrup, plus 2 delicious French toast sticks for only $5.50, including VAT. Or choose the chicken maple and cheese croissant sandwich with 2 French toast sticks at the same price. Enjoy the sweet and savory experience of the maple croissant sandwiches and French toast sticks only at Burger King Nassau.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Learn more at cancercenter.com.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
So me tell you that they know people they got that ulterior motive. Oh, what they say. And if me tell you that they need you, but they got that ulterior motive. Personality. And if me tell you that they love you, but they got that ulterior motive. Oh, what they say. And if me tell you that they need you, but they got that ulterior motive. Personality. Sorry for my God. Some wrong by you. Yeah. I know you're working so hard. They want to treat you like Butu. 7 days a week, you try to make the 2 ends meet. It's not so sweet. Still they cut their teeth and then skin them teeth. You wonder what the world is coming to. Kinda host, but I got to sing it too. I got 9 man there, feeling the right alone. So me tell you that they love you, but they got that ulterior motive. Oh, what a shame. And let me tell you that they need you, but they got that ulterior motive. Personality. So me tell you that they love you, but they got that.
We're back at you on the Monday, November 17th edition of Talking Heads. Your boy Naughty and the company right up until 6 p.m. on this Monday edition. And we're into the 5 o'clock hour, so you know we're talking sports. And we're into the Who's In and Who's Out segment, all brought to you, of course, by Tropical Gyros. And big up to Chef Comer and the crew. And big up to all the locations of Tropical Gyro. Is that Pearly I hear?
That's me.
Jesus, you scared me. I thought you were in a meeting.
I was, but I thought about it and said, I can't let my friend down. I can't let our listeners down, so I got to find some time. So I decided to step out and get in a quiet spot.
Things must be really good because you sound like that guy.
I am that guy.
Must have been a good meeting.
Really good, really good.
All right, so listen, we just got into the international segment. Wanted to start off with the NFL. Obviously, we saw some injuries yesterday. A couple that made me shake my head. I really feel for Michael Penix, the quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah,
that's the same knee injury that plagued him in college.
He's going for a second opinion on his knee, though.
Correct, and I think that's what he should do, Pearly. But I think there's going to be some sort of damage there, and you just gotta hope that it's nothing long term, something that can be rectified and dealt with, even if it's shutting down this year, because they're 3-7 right now. So what's the risk? I mean, ride it out with Kirk Cousins, give him the opportunity to end up somewhere else next year as either a starter in a stopgap situation or a quality backup for somebody. Because obviously it hasn't worked out with him in Atlanta either. But Penix, that was something that I didn't like to see yesterday. I shook my head on that one. And a couple of other injuries around the league as well, too. The other incident that marred yesterday's game, the whole Jamar Chase situation. Now, he's been suspended a game. Subsequently, he said he didn't spit. But obviously, after further video footage, there's going to be a camera angle somewhere that catches you doing it.
Oh, yeah.
And they did. And he spit on Jalen Ramsey. So I totally get Jalen Ramsey wilding out, freaking himself out, and got ejected. But because the man spit on him, if somebody spit on me, I don't care where I at. I freaking myself out too. Sorry.
For real. Yeah.
So I get that. The whole situation, I think, just boils down to that old Cincinnati-Pittsburgh Steelers rivalry, And
yeah, but how could you be so dumb to know that you don't think cameras all over you? And so many people have been caught spitting already. I don't understand it. I just don't get it.
Opening game of the season, Thursday Night Football. Carter from the Eagles spit on Dak Prescott.
Yep. I remember that. Yep.
And that whole debacle fell out. All right, let me get to the text lines real quick, Pearly. Oh, Lord. Oh, God. Pearly, you got to help me with this one, okay? Because the texters really, I think that they're trying to be funny, and if they are, I'm getting a good laugh out of it. But if not, I need you to help me because they've gone way down memory lane here. Naughty, why do you and the Prime Minister both lie to the Bahamian people? The fire at Goldie's and the others was not at Arawak Key. It was at the Western Esplanade. Arawak Key is where the port is. It was originally named Kelly Island. Teach the children the truth. Yeah, I remember Kelly Island. Let me tell you a story, Texter. My grandpa K.M. Thompson's house had a couple of cracks on the walls on the outside from when they blasted Kelly Island, which was later named or told to me in school to be named Arawak Key. But hey, you sound like a veteran, so I'm going to call Pearly.
Technically, he's correct in terms of Kelly Island was when they dredged the harbor, created that, and they named it Arawak Key. Technically, where we at was called the Fish Fry, but we all know it affectionately as Arawak Key. But we know it's the Fish Fry, so it's not necessarily wrong because we've been calling it Arawak Key, calling all of that out there Arawak Key. Because if you really want to get back to it, West Bay Street was water. All that was water. When my dad used to play baseball on Fort Charlotte and they hit it over the ridge, it went into the water. So if you really want to go all the way back there, and all that was created, so all of that could be called Arawak Key, even though Kelly Island was used, and even when they dredged the harbor back in the day, and when they dredged it a few years ago, they extended it to make it a bigger place. But all that is really Arawak Key, because all that was water many years ago.
And that, Texter, is why the Funkadelic relic known as Pearly is a first-time ballot Hall of Famer, not only, by his warrants on the field, but both by the managers and the fans. That's why he's a first-time Hall of Famer right there, okay? Bada bing, bada boom. He lived it. I think he was lighting the dynamite that was blowing up Kelly Island. How about that?
No. I was but a pup.
Well, yeah, there you go. But thank you for that text, though, Quality. That's good memories because I remember my grandpa, K.M. Thompson, telling me the stories about how they dynamited out there to create Kelly Island. So, yeah, thanks for that. That was a good one right there. Let's get to the phone lines. Talking Heads.
Hey, Naughty, what's up, man?
What's going on, Gardner?
Hey, I was trying to call into the show on Saturday. This guy's in sports show on Saturday. They asked about why Sock and QC was winning baseball and softball, and they asked whether it was about scholarships and things, But I would like to say to them that the reason why Sock and QC is winning baseball is that baseball, right? Or bat and ball has become like a money thing, it went out of the ghetto or the inner city,
And not to cut you off, caller, but I'll let you know. A lot of the kids from St. Augustine's and a lot of the kids from Queens College play in either Freedom Farm or JBL Baseball League.
Right, so it ain't because they got scholarship after they play, you know what I mean? To Queens College and
all part of the Freedom Farm and JBL Baseball Leagues.
Remember now?
Okay.
I went to Queens College in the 70s, early 70s, 72 and then. And the only thing Queens College could win was primary softball. That was it. I remember my brother playing junior and senior league softball in school. They have always beaten them like football score, 20 to 1 and then.
I finished SOC in 79, and we were always in the money for softball. And that's when we played against R.M. Bailey, and we played against C.I. Gibson, and we played against S. McPherson.
77, 78, I went to St. John's, and we played championship against R.M. Bailey, too. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
QC was never in the mix. You know what I mean?
QC wasn't in the
always
mix.
had you know what I mean? They could compete in softball. You know what I mean? I remember playing baseball with Joel Brennan. Remember Joel, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Joel ran the SOC. At the time, I ran the St. John's. And we had people like Dylan Knowles and Hoppy Knowles. They ran the Queen's College. I ran the Queen's College with them, too, at the time. You understand? Queen's College and SOC, they had a couple of players, but the public schools had more.
Yes.
You see, so when the game and the Freedom Farm, that's when things changed. You know, things changed. Then they took the game out in the city. Well, you know what they do, right? They come and practice in the inner city.
Yep.
But I don't know. You know, even with track and field even went like guys, all the coaches, they get into the money. You know, I remember doing a couple of years ago, I had a batting cage in Carmichael Road. And I had the R&B, not the R&B, the S.C. McPherson thing. They used to come to me every Saturday, and they used to hit for free.
Okay.
You understand me? They love it. You know, but you know, they hate on it. You know what I mean? Like, you know how baseball go. Baseball is a lot of politics in that. You know, a lot of people feuding and thing over the rights to sign players and the like. You know, so but I don't know. They perhaps need to get basketball like that. Put some money in the basketball, but you know, I don't care if they take the ghetto youth out, because the ghetto youth ain't going nowhere anyway. Unless they get off the school. When the fact only the kids who got the money could get off the high school. You know, like Seatbelts and them did. You know, Seatbelts, them had money. You know, and Cecil Rose.
But nowadays, Gardner, it's a little different because you have a lot of high schools over there recruiting international, so they're only looking from the cream of the crop, and it's not just here in the Bahamas. You got Jamaica, you got the U.S. Virgin Islands, you got
so
Cayman,
therefore you got to go.
and
you got to go on your own. You got to have the money
too.
to go on your own. And you know when they talk about scholarships, I say I get no it ain't scholarships. Well, how come you ain't getting no scholarships to what you call them? Even elite baseball, you need money to go there. That ain't about elite. That's about the elite money elite. You understand me? You get a lot of kids that play in Freedom Farm, and then they can't even afford to go to elite, and they can play. You understand me? So it's something we got to do. We got to get that money. We got to reach out to the inner city youths, man. You know what I mean? People, they put some money in the baseball in the inner city because that's where the talent is. In the high schools, in the schools.
I agree with you.
Men and women, they need to put some money, put some effort into that, you know, and get it going.
Well, baseball is now in the schools.
So, you know,
all right, Gardner, good stuff, man. I appreciate it, man. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Baseball is in the schools now. That is why you see SOC and QC playing for the baseball championships.
But listen, I just want to.
As a matter of fact, St. Augustine is building a baseball field out there. They'll have next season. They'll have their own baseball field.
Well, I've always wondered why some of these fields that I see in the schools that are modeled that could facilitate baseball and football and soccer and all aren't being utilized more. But that's a different story for another day. But back to Gardner real quick. Hats off to Gardner too, because I have seen Gardner at work in the inner city, lending a hand with Mario Ford's camp. And, teams, he's done a great job. And that batting cage in Carmichael was visionary. He is individuals like Gardner who need government support and stipends to keep a cage like that going. Because the wealth of knowledge those kids get when it comes to hitting the ball, whether it's baseball or softball, is you can't pay for it. So you got to look at that. I mean, so I do want to tip my hat to Gardner, even though he's the old Boston Celtic. You know, the batting cage is his saving grace. Let me hit the text line, Pearly. This one for you. Pearly, Government High School was also a powerhouse in softball in that era. Smudge, Luke, and Philip Bethel, etc.
Aquinas too, with Mario Ford and all them. St. John's with P.J. Hyler and them. Yes. Princeville was the volleyball powerhouse. C.C. Sweeting was the volleyball powerhouse with Carl Mins and them. Yeah.
Naughty, I am 74 years old. I played baseball on the Western Esplanade and Fort Charlotte. Tell Pearly he lie.
My daddy would have been 88. My daddy would have been 87 right now, and that's when he was a little boy, not when you was a little boy, Dexter. So that would have been about 13 years before you born.
Naughty, it's the Western Esplanade. No matter what you and Pearlie call it, he is a baby to me. I went to the government high school, graduated in June 1970. Well, yes, sir. If Pearlie is a baby to you, I am but a mere, still a twinkling in your eye, sir, because I wasn't even born then. So yes, indeed, congratulations. I'm not gonna challenge you, Obi-Wan, whatever you'd like to call it. That works for me. But I will tell you though,
and in the 70s when they played baseball, that's when they played softball, high school softball, particularly Aquinas. I've been to games out there. Yes, the road was already done. The road was done. The water was there years before that. That would have been in the 50s, before you're born, Dexter.
I'll be honest with you. Some of the texters from government high, the ones that went there during a certain era, they always stress the government high.
There was a team called the Chippingham Boys. Thaddeus Thompson was on that team. Paul Fernandez' daddy was Paul Fernandez from the Guardian. His daddy was on that team. All right, and some others from the area. It's called the Chippingham Boys baseball team.
Correct. And do you know who sponsored that team?
K.M. Thompson.
Thank you very much. I need a laundry. I rest my case.
Exactly. Yes.
All right. Let's get to the phone lines. Talking Heads.
Yeah, brothers. What's going on?
Muff, you got a big win yesterday, Muff. You get a big win yesterday.
Yeah. Very naughty. I know Stockboy getting on, bro. That's 4 in a row. But good thing Pittsburgh win too, boy. They lucky they good. But Parker, Rogers Russell going on. He ain't played the second half, but the bottom or something. He still play good too, though. He play good too.
Pittsburgh still got some tough games. They got 2 against Baltimore. They got 1 coming up against the Bills. I think they played the Lions somewhere in that stretch.
I think they had problems. After last night, I think the Lions and then Big Chief, Kansas City, boy, they might have to win the last 7, way. 5-5.
That is why
Pittsburgh got the Bears, the Bills, the Ravens, the Dolphins, the Lions, the Browns, and then the Ravens again.
Not an easy run.
That's who Kansas City have?
No, that's who Pittsburgh got. They got the Bears.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's who Pittsburgh have. So that's what I'm saying. So that's what naughty prediction could be coming true. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But looking last night, the Lions could be in problems, but that Philly defense, defense.
Now, Muff,
8-2.
I want to tell you something now on record. And Pearlie can tell me I sound like a politician, but I'm about to tell you this. I sat down all day because I had nothing else to do waiting for the Cowboys to play. And I looked at their schedule based on what I saw yesterday. And listen, you got about 10 or 11 teams in front of Dallas with a worse loss record. So Dallas is looking at 12 at best in the draft. Let me see what the Cowboys look like against the Raiders tonight with the new additions on defense and so on and so forth, and how we look coming off a bye after the Nealon tragedy. Let me see how we look, because I agree with you. The Lions look like they got issues. The Chiefs look like they got issues, okay? That Eagles secondary, I think, could be exploited by a division rival like the Cowboys. All right, and then you look at some of the other teams coming up, like the Vikings, that the Cowboys got to play.
That Denver defense dangerous too. Denver looking good too, boy.
But next week, on the 23rd, we will know just how much exploiting the Cowboys could do to the Eagles defense.
Yeah,
well, Smith ain't playing. Smith ain't playing too good, man. He look good this year, too, man. He's doing a wrong interception.
You mentioned the Denver Broncos, and we got a texter that asked the question, Naughty and Pearlie, what about my Broncos? How far can we go? The defense, even without Surtain, is still playing ball. I give you that. It's the offense that worries me in Denver.
Bo Nix. Dangerous.
Yeah, I think the offense is probably going to be the undoing of the Broncos at some point. I think that defense is legit to carry them. But I
don't leave New England out too now. Don't leave the Patriots and the AFC now. What? Boy,
look at the Broncos.
8 straight, 9 straight.
One sec. I think you're all talking over each other. Hold on 1 second, Freddie. Go ahead, Muff. Get your point in.
No, I said don't leave out New England too. How they looking in the AFC too? How they looking? What 8 straight, 9 straight, David?
As much as I tip my hat to them, I have to agree with Pearlie's theory and my initial theory. And Pearlie's, nailed it this year so far with several teams. And New England is one. They are riding a fourth place schedule like a wave right now, brother. They stepping up and playing, and the teams that are playing on that same fourth place schedule aren't. So I think they look good, but they got to be tested in the playoffs against a quality opponent. But I'll let Purdy chime in on his take on the Broncos and on the Patriots.
And the Bills too, good. The Bills should look yesterday too, yeah.
The Broncos have a pretty easy run. They got the Commanders, they got the Raiders, they got the Packers, they got the Jaguars, they got the Chiefs, and then they get the Chargers. So they could go 3-3, maybe so. So they could probably end up 11-6, somewhere around there, 10-7.
Still win the division.
And still pretty much win the division.
Yeah,
right. And then the team, see, the Patriots will probably finish and get a bye in the first round because of the scheduling. Right? Because like I said, there's a fourth place team that plays a fourth place record. So they getting away with some stuff that other teams aren't getting away with. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do when playoff time comes.
Yeah. But anyway, we got another 2 weeks to receive together, but not able to leave this with you. Man, your boy was stupid Saturday, man. Malachi Tony was catching touchdown, throwing touchdown. He's a crazy quarterback too, though. Man, look here. He's looking so good Saturday. Hey, Tony don't play. Hey, he could be number one draft going into the NFL. Yeah, man. He
could be top 5 possibly. He's really making some noise, honestly.
Yeah. I like the kid's talents, though. All right, take care, man.
All right, take care, Muff. Good stuff. Listen, Freddie, we got to pivot a little bit. And we'll go NBA, then we'll go NFL, and we'll get you ready for tonight's game. And we got Rich Eisen taking us home. But real quick, buckle up, man. This just breaking from ESPN. As soon as tomorrow, this guy may be back. Mr. Producer, let's hear from ESPN and the LeBron James.
Oh, God.
You know what? Don't worry about the Clippers.
Have a new player back with the team. Just what's this last
Definitely feel
month,
new for sure.
Been like for you, just mentally, the physically part as you ramp up for a historic.
Yeah, it's just been kind of the same revolving door, just repetition, rehabbing. Just trying to get back to where I feel like myself again. It's great to be out here today.
How are you feeling at this point after kind of going full?
I mean, as expected. Obviously, my lungs feel like a newborn baby. That's the most important thing. I got to get my lungs back up to a grown man, and my voice is already gone. 1 day back, barking out calls and assignments and stuff, and getting my voice working again. So, be a lot of tea and rest tonight.
That feels good, though.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good to be out here with the guys. Miss them.
Man, what would be the deciding factor for you and your team on whether you play tomorrow night?
I mean, we got a long time. I mean, we've been taking literally 1 minute, 1 hour, one step at a time throughout this whole process. So, see how I feel this afternoon, see how I feel tonight. When I wake up in the morning, we probably have a shoot around. So, just got to see how the body responds over the next 24 hours plus. That sucks. It definitely sucks. Never in my life, since I started playing the game of basketball, have I ever not started the season in my life. So, it's been a mind test, but, I'm built for it, and it's been, putting in the work, both mentally and physically, and just trying to get myself ready to rejoin the team.
All right, there you have it from LeBron, Pearlie. And touchdown with you, man. Listen, Pearlie and I don't hear from LeBron either. I'm sorry you had to bear with that, but, we're doing it for pure, journalistic integrity right now. LeBron is making a comeback. You heard from him. My biggest concern, Pearlie, Lakers 10-4. Getting it from different areas as well, because you can't collectively say Luka and Reeves and Ayton have been on the court simultaneously all year. They haven't. They've all been in and out, some for load management, some for injury, some for whatever. But nonetheless, Lakers are 10-4, and Ayton is playing at a high level. Luka's playing, lights out. Reeves has established himself as definitely an NBA superstar. Obviously, the Lakers are going to have to pay him because I don't think he really wants to go anywhere. I think all of the maneuvering and posturing is just to guarantee himself a big contract from the Lakers. And you can speak from a Dodger perspective. He's somebody that re-signed, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
They'd spend the moolah on an Austin Reeves, right?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
So I look at it like that. I look at the chemistry that these guys have had. They've beaten some big teams that they weren't supposed to beat. Lakers are 10-4. They're jamming. What does LeBron do? Coming in based on that presser right there. Oh, I got to get my lungs together. Does that mean to tell me, is he going to coast? Is he going to loaf? I mean,
it tells me he ain't healthy enough and he could get injured quick. So that's what that tells me.
I mean, I got to see him to see what's going on, to see if he's going to be an asset or a liability moving forward.
I agree.
I mean, if he could come in and give us 20 and 10 and 5 a night, I mean, just on the strength of how he gets it done, then so be it. But it can't come at the cost of slowing down the offense, because you're getting it from Luka, you're getting it from Ayton, and you're getting it from Reeves. On a consistent, unselfish level, they don't mind. It's not like, none of them freaked themselves out because, like, the other night, Reeves had 31 and Luka had 24. Not a problem. Ayton is the guy going under the radar. He had 24 the other night, and he shot 10 of 11. I mean,
he did.
That's ridiculously good. I mean, you can't deny that.
And that's all you're asking of him, That's all you're asking of him.
Had 16 in that game, and then came back with another 20 and 10 performance, and I think he shot like 10 out of 14. So he's getting a lot of chippies and a lot of loves, but he's also, doing what he's supposed to do, getting some blocks here and there, filling up the lane just enough. So I think the Lakers,
the key to it is the Lakers are shooting very well. They're like second in the league in field goal percentage, which is the key to it right now. Because other than that, they in the 20s and everything else.
I like Marcus Smart's addition too to that team. He brings a little edge and defensive tenacity.
The only concern I have is him, Hachimura, Anderson, and Kessler all game time decisions for tomorrow. So, Smart.
I think if it's game time decisions, I think they all play. I think that's why they sat out the other game.
Well, Kessler's on concussion protocols, so I guess by tomorrow they'll know if he cleared concussion protocols.
All right. So we'll see how it goes. But if you look at the NBA landscape there, Pearly, after a couple of weeks, you got some surprise teams. Very surprising when you look at it.
That is one of the reasons why I really don't look at basketball until the All-Star break, because teams don't start coming into shape, form, and everything until early February.
I mean, I agree. We always say after the All-Star break, but I have seen some teams that have emerged that after a couple of weeks, I'm like, okay, they could possibly be legit. I just look at early season, running off on an easy schedule and playing tough ball. I started in the Eastern Conference, 11-2, and I watched Detroit sit 3 starters the other night and 5 players all together, and they still won, and they still did a good 76-10.
Yeah.
I look at the Knicks, and see, this is where I say like Detroit could be far and away the cream of the crop in the East, because there's a log jam after that. You got the Knicks 8-4. The Brunson injury puts them in limbo. Cleveland's 9-5, but they've had their share of injuries, and they lose to some opponents they shouldn't really lose to.
Yep. Atlanta's
9-5. I think they're just being Atlanta for the moment. I got to talk to you in 2 weeks to see how legit Atlanta really is. You know what I mean?
Atlanta's a team you really don't see the best of them until playoff time.
Correct. If they make it that far.
They way right in, and then they give you a run for the money.
The only reason why I'm interested in keeping an eye on this team, they're doing it without Trae Young. So that makes it a little interesting for me, because you wouldn't expect them to be 9-5 with no Trae Young.
Yeah.
Toronto is 8-5. They're playing as where they should be. Philadelphia is 7-5. They get Paul George back. There's another scenario now. What does Paul George do to that chemistry there? Because he's been injured and he's been, not well received in Philadelphia. So let's see, does he go right back to the starting lineup, or does he come off the bench? And how's that going to be expected? Look, keep an eye on that situation in Philadelphia. Then you got the Bucks and the Heat, like 8-6 and 7-6 right there, as well as the Magic and the Celtics. And the Bulls, they started off hot, they've cooled off, but they're still 6-6. So the East is still anybody's race. And then if you look over in the West, now I think you start to see like where the talent is as far as the teams go. OKC 13-1. Denver 10-2 at number 2.
That's expected.
Houston 9-3 in third, but we're in fourth at 10-4. I guess we played 14 games. They played 12 games. So until the schedule makes itself up, I think that basing it on a conference record, possibly. Yeah.
The Lakers did finish in third place last year, so they're pretty much where they should be.
Where they should be, correct. And Houston, like I said, they're not a bad team at all. And St. Glenn is legit, and so is the Thompson twin. Very, very good players for that Houston squad.
Yes.
Lakers 10-4, a fourth spot. The Spurs 9-4, 3.5 back. So you got Denver 2 games back, Houston and the Lakers 3 games back. San Antonio in fifth spot, 3.5 games back. Listen, Wemby situation, I tell you, the refs got to give him a better shake. But that dude is talented, and that Spurs team is talented too. Now, Keldon Johnson, I watched a couple of games with them, and they got some talent, Purdy. They like them old Spurs. I think when they mature just a little bit, like you say, by next year, they're gonna be a very explosive, dangerous, hard to beat squad.
Yeah, I mean, just got to work on his discipline, and he'll be a lot better player. He's tall enough. He don't have to. He just got to work on his feet, his foot movement, and stop trying to lean over and block and just go straight up. People got to go too high over you to try to get it.
Yeah, but he got to keep on that 3-point part of his game because he's really unstoppable with that. You really don't see a 7'4" guy can shoot the way he does, but that is definitely something that he brings to the table that nobody really could match. Minnesota.
And while he can do that, I still think he should be playing more with his back back to the ball, to the basket. But we'll see.
Minnesota 8-5. They like number 6, right where you put me. That's for who Minnesota is right now. I don't have a problem with them being there. They will go on a run at some point.
Yeah.
Golden State, same thing, 9-6 in 7th spot. It's where you put me right now, but I think they're going to be part of the
conversation. They're an old team. They're pretty old team. That's where they're going to pretty much finish in 7, 6, 7, 8. I think that's where they're going to finish.
Now, the logjam comes like 8, 9, and 10 with Phoenix and Portland and Utah. Everybody jumped up with 8 wins, 6 wins, and 5 wins. I think Utah fades, but I think Portland and Phoenix may be on the uptick a little bit. Keep an eye on them as far as one of the.
You can't count the Clippers out, and you can't count the Mavericks out. So,
Mavericks are rock bottom. They 4-10.
Yeah, but they still only 9 games out, which puts them basically a game and a half out of the playoff spot, the play-in game. So they're not that far off.
I get you with that where they are position-wise and numerically right now, but do you think they're really a squad that gets up and makes that kind of run? Jason Kidd is still out. AD dealing with possible calf and Achilles issues.
Again.
Clay shooting bricks like he building a mansion.
Yeah.
So what do you have? I mean, you don't have much right now.
Yeah. Let's wait to see. That's why I say I think it's a little early. I mean, look at it. They only played 14 games, right?
All right. Well, we're another one.
They got like 50, 60 more, about 60 more games to go, almost.
There's another team that we could have a checkup on. All right.
Okay.
All right. Let's get to this quick clip here by Rich Eisen before we get into our clips. Obviously, we're going to slide over into football. Last game of the week, Monday Night Football. Dallas Cowboys taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. Here are the ramifications out of tonight's big game. And Pearlie and I will be back to chime in on it right after this. But let's hear from Rich Eisen right now.
Tonight's game, TJ Jefferson.
Varsity.
Listen, 3-5-1. Then you go 4-5-1. You win tonight. You're supposed to. Hey, listen, you're supposed to win this game tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
stop it.
No, listen.
Stop it.
Let's talk about the human side of things.
The Raiders did look very good in their last game Thursday night. They gave the Broncos quite the scare and damn near won the game.
3.5-point favorites.
We should
Cowboys.
win, and with, like I said, Marshawn Nealon and what happened with him, I feel like this is a time where the team's going to rally. You know what I mean?
And by the way, Quinnen Williams has shown up in his first game. I believe, is Overshown back?
He was back in practice.
Okay.
I don't know if he's active.
Well, him showing up, I don't know if he's playing tonight. At some point, he's going to make you better on that second level. He was everywhere before he got hurt.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
But Quinnen Williams right there in the middle, man. Let's go. Him and Kenny Clark should fix the run problem. The question is the pass rush issue. And Gino's been turning it over an insane number of times.
He has.
To the point where Pete Carroll this week is like, 2-7, this is foreign to me, man. And it is.
It is.
So Cowboys win this one, with all due respect to Pete Carroll and the Raiders. But they're in a tough position here at 2-7 to make a run in the AFC, certainly in a division that is gone for them.
Yeah, they're toast. I think it's more about.
I mean, if we're saying the Chiefs are in trouble at 5-5, 2-7, let's focus on the Cowboys here. 4-5-1. Yeah. And then you go and you got to visit Detroit next. No, pardon me. Let me get this right. No, then you're home for Philadelphia, home for Kansas City on a Thanksgiving. Then you're at Detroit the following week.
And Overshown is going to play tonight.
There you go, baby. He's good. You just got way stronger on the first two levels of defense. Way stronger.
Almost a year since his injury.
And, obviously there'll be a lot of emotions thinking about their teammate. Yeah. But this is it, buddy. You got to win the one that you're supposed to win. Like the Monday nighter we saw before the bye at home against Arizona. You lost it. At Vegas, before you get the Eagles in your house, and you're going to be like, okay, let's throw records out here, and let's get to 5-5-1. Let's hold serve against Kansas City, 6-5-1. We'll go to Detroit, we're 7-5-1, and that's when I'll wake you up.
I'll be asleep for all that, or?
I mean,
this is a wild take.
Rip Van Jefferson.
Jack with you today.
Because I'm not answering group texts.
Rip Van Jefferson.
Rip Van. Look, tonight's essential, man. It's a big game. It's going to be with heavy hearts.
Of course.
And I think this team's going to show improvement.
Okay.
Cowboys win big tonight.
4-5-1. Got to have it. Got to have it in that NFC. Certainly when you're playing Detroit, and Detroit's in front of you right now in the standings, and you got Philadelphia next. They're on a roll.
Tough. Well,
that's after 3, and then you got Kansas City in between it. Oh, baby.
One game at a time, though.
And it starts tonight in must-win mode. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that.
All right, there you have it, Pearlie. All right, Rich Eisen's take on it. Now, let me say this. All right? You there, Pearlie?
I'm here. I'm right here.
All right. I feel I got that funky feeling, Pearlie. I looked at it today, like I said. Dallas is stuck at right now. If games continue to play and the teams that are in front of them continue to lose more regularly than the Cowboys, Dallas going to end up between 12 and 15 with their pick. That's how many bad teams are in front of them that they can't really leapfrog.
Yeah.
So,
but I'll tell you what. If you don't beat the Raiders tonight, I think your season's done.
I agree. But I'm looking at it now and I'm saying, okay, let's see what the new additions on defense look. Allow me at least tonight to look at it and see what we got and look at what we got moving forward. And I said, all right, cool. If we play tonight against the Raiders, we play well and we win. And we got something close to a defense that could maybe stop an opponent once or twice during a game. More than we do now. Let's look at the schedule and see what we could do based on how teams are playing right now compared to how we looked at them when the first schedule first broke at the season. All right? So just indulge me. Say we win with the Raiders tonight. Like Rich Eisen said, we 3-5-1. Or we're 4-5-1. It's a division game. We had the Eagles on the ropes opening night with a crap defense. If we got some reinforcements that actually could do a little something, it might keep it competitive, and I still think our receivers are going to have something to say against our secondary in Philadelphia.
Well, let's see what happens.
It's a division game. We've been splitting for years. I'm going to say give it to the Cowboys. The Eagles fans will get upset, and, probably 24-23, some crazy-ish, but, hey, we get it. So now we 5-5-1. That brings us to a showdown between us and the Chiefs on Thanksgiving.
You really need to be a part of this.
I know you was going to say that, but in your opinion, I ask you, based on what you see the Chiefs doing right now, and if the Cowboys do have some addition and get a little lightning in the bottle, and they get the 5-5-1 taking on the Chiefs on Thanksgiving.
Chiefs are very vulnerable, and Dallas is the Thanksgiving is their thing. They're at home. They're vulnerable. The Chiefs are very vulnerable. They're vulnerable.
So not
And
to
I
put
think
us-
if the Chiefs takes a loss to the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving, their season done. And mind you, I told y'all that I don't think the Chiefs go win that division, and I don't think the Chiefs are going anywhere this year. I said that, and I'm going to
and you
hold
said
to
that from the break too. I got to give you that.
It's this football. You got a 4 or 5 year run, and then things start to go downhill. You're going to rebuild again. You ain't running every year.
Let me get to the Lions. I'll concede I don't know which Lions team could be there, but it's in Detroit. I'll give that to the Lions. But now, check this out.
Yeah.
This is where Dallas really controls their destiny. Vikings are beatable. Chargers are beatable.
Yes.
Commanders are beatable. And the Giants are beatable. That's the last 4 games for the Cowboys. If they could hold water and get to that little stretch right there, surprise people against Philadelphia and Kansas City, they could control their destiny because other teams are going to beat other teams, and that wild card race that gap is going to close.
Well, let's wait to see. I mean, you're hopeful. You make it sound good. You almost got me believing it. But I got to see you win tonight because I still tell you I think the upset game of the week is tonight.
All right, here we go. We're picking a game for the night, my brother. One game we picking, Cowboys against the Raiders. What you like?
I think this is my upset game. I like the Raiders. I don't know why. It's no hating or nothing like that, but my gut is telling me this could be the upset game of the week. I'm going to take the Raiders. Either way, I'm going to take the Raiders and the points.
All right, you're taking the Raiders with the 4.5. I like the Cowboys minus the 4.5. I think the Cowboys win big. I think they put up some points, and I think the defense makes a statement against a weaker opponent. And we'll have a lot to talk about tomorrow on Talking Heads, man. But I appreciate you chiming in. I appreciate Roscoe chiming in early on. And like I said, we'll do it again tomorrow right here on Talking Heads. Myself, MJ will be in, and our special guest will be F&M leader, Mr. Michael Pintard. So we'll have a great candid conversation with Mr. Pintard. And obviously, if we go 2 hours, I already told you also in advance. Thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow right here on Talking Heads.
Thank you, my brother.
So we tell you that they love you, but they got an ulterior motive. Oh, what a shame. And then we tell you that they need you, but they got an ulterior motive. Personal gain. So we tell you that they love you, but they got an ulterior motive. Oh, what a shame. And then we tell you that they need you, but they got an ulterior motive. Oh, yeah.
Craving something bold, fresh, and unforgettable? Tropical Gyros is your flavor-packed escape, a Carib-Greek fusion born right here in Nassau. From juicy grilled salmon, chicken, and pork gyros to loaded bowls, fresh salads, wings, and more, there's something for every craving. Find Tropical Gyros at any of their locations, JFK Plaza, Rosetta Street, Port Lucaya Freeport, or their franchise spots on Prince Charles Drive, Soldier Road West, Delaport, and Carmichael Road. Tropical Gyros, not just good food, it's an experience.
Don't wait for a storm to arrive. Stock up on hurricane supplies, make home repairs, purchase a generator, and more this hurricane season with a Fidelity personal loan. Make that move today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Feeding the crew? Fueling the cravings? There's something for everyone with the new KFC Fill-Up Box. Serving 6 juicy pieces of chicken, 4 buttery biscuits,